Okay, thank you for joining us for our Intro to Screencastify, or Introduction to Screencastify webinar. I will tell you, I never recommend a tool that is not easy to use, where you won't be up and running with it in under, I don't know, you'll be up and running with it in 30 minutes or less, I promise you. It's going to be easy peasy. Okay, so before we get started, I'm going to have what I like to call my little soapbox moment. Those of you who are either cursing or rejoicing the state of things right now with online learning, I'm hoping that you will consider yourselves a part of history right now. We are in the midst of an educational renaissance. I know some of you are believing that we're in the middle of an educational dumpster fire, and that's really okay. This is a safe space. I'm not going to judge you. I'm just trying to reframe our thinking that, yes, we are in the midst of an educational renaissance. And one of the things that we can do better as teachers, especially in the middle of this educational renaissance, is to rethink things, to take the old and make it new. We don't have to reinvent everything. We just have to re-see it. Rebirth it, if you will, to look at the official terminology, the official meaning of Renaissance. It's a rebirth. So all we need to do is take something old and turn it into something new. Think of new ways to do old things. With that said, screencasting is a great and easy way to get started with that. I've been doing screencasting now for about 6 years, actually. I found it when I was in the classroom. I found it was a great way to replicate myself. Actually, I got called into jury duty, and I didn't, and I had tried to put it off for years, and they finally caught up with me, and they're like, "Girl, you got to show up." Sorry. So I felt badly for my sub, but I didn't want to disrupt my students' learning. So I would record these little screencasts every day just so they could see my face and be reassured. And I'd give them a lay of the land and what the expectations were. And after doing that, I realized, why couldn't I do this every day for absent students, for students who needed help, for students who, extra help when they got home? Think about it. We send homework home where the kids have to do it alone. I started thinking about screencasting again, for the subs and especially for parents. In fact, I wanted to share with you something. That I did. This is 6 years old. This is a screencast that my then 8th grader made. He was a math tutor. Now, he didn't do this in Screencastify. He did this in Show Me. We did it with an iPad. But he was a math tutor he was in 8th grade, and he was a math tutor for after school for younger kids. And I was learning this new tool at the time, and I talked the math teacher into allowing Tyler, my son, to go ahead and create these short math videos for parents. So, and then we got other students in the school doing it, like jobs. Think about it. We have jobs for students that they're line leaders, or they return the library books, or they get to, take out the trash, or they get to be, carry the lunch baskets to the cafeteria. Why not create a job where your students can do some screencasting? They'll be able to do it with Screencastify. With that said, let me just show you briefly. Again, this is 6 years old, and this is a 13-year-old.
So in this video, I'm going to show you how to find the area of a triangle. All right, so suppose this is a triangle. To find the area, first of all, in a triangle, the bottom side is the base, and from the base to the top vertex is called the height. Now, to find the area, what you have to do is multiply the base and the height together, and then you divide those by 2.
Okay, I'm going to put that on pause right now. We don't need to watch the whole thing, although it's very brief. It's about a minute long, which was perfect. But this little video we would put on the teacher's website, and it was not only helpful for absent students or students who needed remediation or students who just need a little hint. It was great for parents too, who were also helping their kids. So as my children, unfortunately, my sons are now both away at college, but I've dragged them into all kinds of my shenanigans with ed tech and creating things. But again, I just want to point out that we need to think of new ways to do old things. And I came across, I was interviewed by CNN recently. I was in a CNN article and I was introduced in the same article to this teacher, Tony Jackson, who is a fourth grade teacher in New Jersey. And he has a YouTube channel and he started creating during pandemic teaching. He got this idea that, you know, kids are drawn to YouTube. And he said, this is my favorite thing. He said, I needed to become my students' favorite content creator. Think about your students or your own children and how they're on YouTube all the time and they subscribe to channels and they follow content created by other people. And so what's great about that is that we've got all these kids and people out there creating content, but a teacher said, wait a minute, I don't want them looking at other stuff. I want them looking at my stuff. So that's something to consider too when you become a screencaster. Put your personality in there. Be goofy, sing. I know a kindergarten teacher in Crestwood Schools. So during pandemic teaching, she started her own YouTube channel and she was teaching Lego math one day and she put on a Lego Halloween costume. And so the point is, be a content creator. Don't just create or recreate lessons or boring lectures, but try to make it fun and interesting because as Tiffany Ott says here of the Teach Better team out of Ohio, digital medium is what our students know. So let's make friends with it and let them watch videos that we have created. Okay, so enough of my soapbox moment because you are here obviously to understand how we can use Screencastify to do things, old things in new ways. All right, so as I promised you, everything you need to know about today is going to be in this Wakelet board. And I'm dropping the Wakelet board right now into the chat. So all you have to do, there you go, voila, it's there. All you have to do is click on it and you'll be able to open it. I will not delete this Wakelet board. It will be there for, I don't know, maybe till, it might outlast me. Who knows at this point? God bless me. But it's there, so I highly recommend you bookmark it. Everything that you need to know, like I said, is on this Wakelet board. And let me just kind of show it to you right now so you can see what it looks like. We're just going to walk through. This is going to be our day. We're going to walk through an introduction of Screencastify and what it is. We're going to talk about 3 things today: how to record, how to edit, and how to share. And it's really that easy. And at the end of today, we're going to look at some resources you can use that'll be really helpful. In case you're not quite sure where to start, we're going to look at some tried and true ideas that have been already done and created by teachers. So we've got some best practices and some really good advice. So we're going to go ahead and dig into that as well. So before I get started, is there anyone, I'm going to take a quick drink here because I talk a lot. Does anyone want to ask a general question about screencasting? You can unmute your mic real quickly. All you got to do is, if you hit your space bar, you should be able to quickly unmute, but got 15 seconds. Anyone want to ask a question? Okie dokie, artichoke. Let's get started. All right, I'm going to share my whole screen here for right now and walk you through the process. Okay. Here we go. All right, so in that Wakelet board, the first thing I wanted to share with you is just an overview of Screencastify. So if you are still unsure as to what screencasting is, we're going to watch this real quick video.
Screencastify is a really simple way to record screencasts from right within your Chrome browser. Once you've installed our extension, click our icon and choose whether you want to record your browser tab, entire desktop, or just your webcam. Turn on your microphone if you want to narrate over your recording, and choose if you want to embed your webcam to add a personal touch. Once you're ready, click record and lights, camera, action. Spice up your screencast with our annotation tools. For example, shine a spotlight on your mouse to direct your viewer's eye, or draw on your recording with our pen tool. can toggle your webcam on and off during a recording and change the location, size, and shape of your webcam. Once you're finished, click our icon again and click the stop button. Your video will automatically save to your Google Drive. Then you can rename your recording and share it either by grabbing the Google Drive link or by publishing your video directly to YouTube. Our premium subscribers can crop and trim their videos, as well as export them as an MP4 or animated GIF. Thanks for watching and enjoy creating awesome videos with Screencastify.
Okay, so as I said, Screencastify is a super duper easy tool. It couldn't be easier to use, and that's why I love it so much. And it's the easiest way to do it, to install it yourself. And on the Wakelet board, you'll see that I've got a video here for how to do it. But in case you just, if you don't need a video, all I do is I just open a new tab, and you can type in Screencastify extension or Chrome extension. You'll see what pops up. Takes you to the Chrome store. And boom. Now I have it in Chrome, as you can see here. Okay, and that's all you would do. Your button will say install, and then you'll go ahead and install, and there it is up in your Chrome browser. And that is easy peasy way to do that. Now, let's get started with recording. All right, so I am going to, actually, let me go back to the chat real quickly. I don't see any questions from anybody. I just want to make sure that we're cool here. I think what I'm going to do, and by the way, if you do have any questions, don't hesitate to drop them in the chat, because we have lots of people, I'm sure, who would be happy to answer them. But also, since I'm recording this webinar, I'm also going to have the chat transcript, and I can answer any questions in there that you have. Okay, so again, let's get started. I want to begin a recording. All right, so let's just say here, this is something I created. This is a Google form I created for distance learning. It's an end of the week check-in. I created it for teachers to use on Fridays, because I feel like we have as much to learn from our students during this time as they do from us. And that since we're all in this together, let's really act like we're all in this together. So here I have created this Google form check-in that's fun and interesting and asks a lot of the kids and asks them to be a participant in their learning. So I want to go ahead and create a video explaining to other teachers who might want to borrow this form how it works. So the first thing I'm going to do is just go up to my bar here and click the Screencastify icon. And here's what happens. So this is a free account. You can upgrade, but here's what I recommend. In the free account, you only get a 5-minute video limit, which some teachers are like, oh my God, that's not enough. And I'm gonna argue, girl, yes it is, because here's the reason. We tend to talk too much. We do, I admit it all the time. I talk way too much. So I like having that 5-minute limit for a couple reasons. One, it keeps me honest and it keeps things short, because think about it, even when you watch a YouTube video, how many times are you either speeding up the playback or hitting the fast forward buttons to click through a YouTube video? We all have very short attention spans. It's just the way we are. So the 5-minute video limit keeps me honest. And if I need to record more, hey, there's nothing wrong with you being able to chunk up videos. In fact, with this video generation, this is the way we want to do things. We want to be able to create short, quick videos in little chunks, especially now more than ever. So if you can certainly upgrade if you wanted to have unlimited recording, but I'm going to say for right now, go ahead and keep it simple. All right, I'm not necessarily going to go over all of the bells and whistles right here, because I would love for you to explore those things. But again, this is the interface. It's super duper simple. The hamburger, you know, that opens the menu and it shows you where everything is. Like it'll show you where all your recordings are, which by the way, auto-populate right into your Google Drive. How easy could that be? And I can also get all my recordings here, notifications, my settings, advanced settings. You know, I really don't need to go over that. The basics, the things you need to know. I'm getting ready to record. I want to record a tutorial for teachers right now on how this Google form works for a weekly check-in during distance learning. So I have a couple options. I can record just a browser. And a browser means that the only thing that's going to appear on the screen are tabs. So see these things up here that look like file, you know, remember file folders for back in the day, the manila folders that have a little tab? These are tabs. So if you only want to record a tab, then you would click the browser tab. If you want to record everything that's on your desktop, maybe I'm going to go between tabs. So honestly, it's not a bad idea that I keep, or that I decide that I'm only going to record my entire screen or desktop. But here's the thing that I will recommend to everybody. Your webcam. I would also, so if you only wanted to do, like I see lots of teachers who do the webcam only. And what that means is just a simple recording of you. I've seen teachers do this for daily announcements, morning meetings, just check-ins, or just to record inspirational messages to students. So it doesn't necessarily just have to be about your screen. It can also be about you too. So you have 3 options to record. Like I said, a browser tab, which will just do one thing, a desktop, your whole desktop, or just you. Also, you can turn on and off your microphone. I have sometimes turned off my microphone if I'm just recording like I'm a Google certified trainer. So I might do a quick 30-second, like, here's how you make a copy of a Google form, something like that. And I don't really need to narrate over it. Plus, I also have a really nasally Cleveland accent, which can be annoying. So sometimes I don't always have my microphone on, I'm gonna be honest with you. But here's the thing, I would always recommend, always recommend that you do have your camera on for students so that they can see you. Studies have shown that learning is much more personalized when students can see your face. And especially if you're a teacher of littles, that's crucial. They'll hear your voice, sure. They don't want to, but they really want to see your face. And so here's my appeal to you. I'm going to stop sharing here for a second, and so you can all see my face. This is my appeal to you. I know that we are not the selfie generation. I know that maybe we're not necessarily thrilled with the way we look on screen. I'm not, especially as I get older. I'm noticing this a little more. But here's the thing, that's what I notice. My students don't. My students are happy to see my face. So my biggest word of advice, if you don't, you know, about your anxiety, get over yourself. Nobody cares about it, just you. Okay, enough said of that. But it's important for your students, and that's who we're here for. All right, so let me go back. Let me share my screen for it back again. All right, clicking the Screencastify icon. Gonna do my whole desktop, microphone on, webcam on, let's go. Record my entire screen. Hi teachers, this is Stephanie DeMichele with this week's free template that I've made for distance learning. Checking in with your students is super crucial. Building relationships at a distance is difficult, but it doesn't have to be. My recommendation is to go ahead and send out this quick form to your students at the end of the week. Take the data to better inform how to make distance learning better for everybody. Once you've taken this form, and I've got the bit.ly here for you, the shortened URL, you can customize it any way you want. For class period, you'll want it, you can delete this question or you can modify it. If you're on block schedule, feel free to go ahead and modify that in any way that you want. You'll also want to get a sense of your students and their online learning this week. I've created real quick questions. Be sure to include emojis. Emojis are fun and engaging for students. A lot of teachers aren't super sure if they would like to include this question, but I'm going to argue that you should. We're all in this together, so let's get suggestions from our students as to how they would improve things if they could. Also, be sure to ask them, what's one thing about this week's learning that knocked it out of the park? What's one thing about this week's learning that failed? Don't worry, you're going to have to let go of your ego a little bit. Again, we all have to learn from each other. Get their ideas or apps. I always encourage teachers to ask students, what are the hottest apps right now? What's cool? What are some things we could do? And give them a place to go ahead and answer and ask things that they would like. And of course, if you have any questions, I am here to always answer questions. Happy learning. Okay. And there you go. So I've recorded it. Now watch what happens. It automatically starts creating the recording. It's untitled right now. I can click it to unmute myself. This is difficult, but it doesn't have to be. My recommendation, and okay, I'm going to pause it because again, I totally want to mute myself. You can give it a title. All right. You can see here from the progress bar that it's already saving to your Google Drive. This is the step you do not want to forget. So if you have a notebook or a pen or anything nearby you and you're writing this down, you want to copy the shareable link. Because don't forget, the thing about Google Drive, especially if it's under your school domain, your Google admin may have it locked down. Your Google Drive may be locked down so that it's only people within the school district can share things. So I highly recommend that you always hit copy shareable link, because what that does is it automatically turns your Screencastify video into something that can be shared. Because I've made the mistake of trying to share something without doing that, and people can't open it because I haven't established the sharing permissions. Just like you would in a Google Doc or a Google Slide, you have to enable sharing permissions for your Screencastify videos because they do save to your Google Drive. All right. Right now, I have it as unlisted, that people who have the link to the video can view it, because this is my, like I was just saying about domains, this is my professional domain through the ESC. So right now, it's set so anyone at the ESC can view it. I don't really care. If anybody wants to find this video and look at it, I really don't care. So I've made it public. I can also go ahead and check it out on Drive, see where it is in my Drive. But I'll just go over here and I will show you that in Google Drive, I have it under extras. But once you create your first video, Google Drive is going to automatically create a Screencastify folder for you. And that's where it will automatically store all of your Screencastify videos. So yeah, as you can see, I've made a couple here. So you don't need to make special folders. You don't need to click and drag. All you need to do is make your first video. Google Drive will create a Screencastify folder for you, and that's where you're going to find all of your Screencastify videos right in there. And now we want to talk about editing. So if I go here to where it says, now usually I will do a quick trim. Trimming here, as you can see, is the first and easiest thing that you can do. So I always like to trim out that end part of my videos where I'm actually turning it off. So they've got the scissors built in here. And if I click and drag the scissors, I'll play it first and see where it's ending, but usually I can see where I stop talking. Happy learning. Perfect. And I hit Save Trim. It automatically trims my video and does update it in Google Drive. Hi teachers, this is Stephanie DeMichele with this. Now what I want to show you actually is on the Wakelet board. So we've talked about recording, how to begin, how to record a tab, a desktop, or you just use your webcam. I found this great video on YouTube about how to edit your Screencastify video. And frankly, instead of repeating what this guy does, he does great examples for you. So bear with me. We're going to watch a YouTube video during a webinar. I know, but this is really good. It's like the best video I've shown about how to use the editing tools in Screencastify.
Screencastify has a simple editor that allows you to make basic changes to the videos you create. I'm going to show you how to use some of the editor's tools in this video. During the next 30 seconds, you're going to see the screencast I'll be editing, and then I'll get started with the how-to part of this video. Okay, I'm getting ready. All right, hit present. All right, we're going to do just a quick review of colors. Red. The ball is red. Blue. The bird is blue. Green. The leaf is green. All right, let me get out of that. Stop my presentation. After I create my video, Screencastify opens in a new tab to show me what I've created. In the upper right-hand corner, I'm going to click on Open in Editor. There are other ways that I can get to the Screencastify editor. I can click on the Screencastify button and then use the hamburger button to get myself into the editor. Also, I can go into my recordings, click on a recording, which will allow me to then open it in editor. Now that I'm editing my video, the first thing I want to do is use the slider in the lower right-hand corner of the screen to make my video take up more of the timeline. This will make it easier to work with. Now that I can see things a bit better in the timeline, I want to trim the ends off of my video. I could select the segment and grab the video at each end to trim it that way. For accuracy though, I'm going to play the video and stop it where I want it cut. Let me undo my changes and then play the video from the beginning. Okay, I'm getting ready. All right, hit present. All right, I've stopped my video where I want it to be cut. So I'll select the segment at that point, and I'm going to use the cut tool in my toolbar to split my clip. Then I'll select and delete the material I don't want to keep. Sometimes when I'm working with a video clip, I might want to crop the clip to zoom in on a part of it. Screencastify has a crop tool in the toolbar. To use this, I select the clip I'm working with, then select the crop tool. Then I'll draw a rectangle to select the area I want to keep. Please note that the cropping will be applied to the entire video clip. It's not a tool I use a lot, but it might come in handy for your video. After I've made my selection, I'll select the Done button. While I don't often use the cropping tool, I do use the zoom tool. To use it on this clip, I'm going to click on the timeline at the point I want to start zooming in. I'll then select the zoom tool. Now I have to do a few things. First, I have to select the area that I want to zoom to. Then I have to go back to the timeline and adjust the length of my zoom. Finally, I can adjust the transition speed in the upper right corner of the screen. After I do that, I'll click off the zoom to finish up. If I need to, I can make further adjustments by clicking on the green zoom selection in the timeline. I'll play a short segment of this to show the finished section. Red. The ball is red. Blue. If I want to, I can delete the zoom effect by selecting it in the timeline and either clicking on the trash can or pressing my delete button. The last tool that I want to show you in this video is the text editor. This tool allows you to add text to your videos. It is a very simple tool and it doesn't allow you a lot of options. To use it, click on the timeline where you want to add text, then select the text tool. You can see that you have a few formatting options. You can bold, italicize, underline, and change the color of the text and the background. You can also select a font and the text size in addition to how you want the text justified. The last button allows you to place the text at the top, the middle, or the bottom of the screen. Again, this is a very simple tool. Notice in this example that I actually have to add some spaces to put my text on the light colored part of the video. Once you are done entering the text, you can adjust the time it appears by dragging the red text section. You can also delete the text by selecting it in the timeline and clicking on the trash can. There are no more tools that I want to show you in this video, but there are a few techniques that I'd like to point out. When you use your trackpad or your mouse, sometimes it's difficult to find the exact spot in a video that you want. I'm looking for the transition between these two sections. I'm going to use the mouse to get close, and then the arrow keys on my keyboard to find exactly where I want to be. Once I've found this spot, I'm going to use my cut command to divide the video into two pieces. Now, I don't want to delete anything for this example. I'm going to find the transition between the red and the blue section. I'm going to go with right here. When I cut this, I've divided my video into 3 different parts. What I can do now is I can click on a section and drag it to a different place to rearrange the sections of my videos. This is a nice tip when you're creating longer videos. I hope you found this video helpful, and I wish you much success with your video editing.
Okay, so again, sorry that I had to sorry for the long video, but I will tell you that that guy's voice was so calming to me, and it's so much nicer than mine that I was like, I can't recreate this. This guy's awesome. So yeah, basically you do have the ability to edit your videos. People used to think that Screencastify was just for making quick videos, but you can do some of these editing functions with it, and it's great. And I love his part at the end where he says, if you can't necessarily get your mouse to help you find exactly where things end, don't forget to use the arrow keys on your keyboard to help you find where you might want to do that cut. So all of these editing tools, I don't need to go over them again, but they all are here. The crop, I have to be honest, I've never used the crop. I've used the zoom and I've used the text quite a bit, but nothing ever more than that. Okay, so that's how you would go ahead editing it. Any questions about editing? Let me go back to, I'm going to go back to the chat here and take a look. Christine, can you undo, hi Christine, by the way, can you undo any actions you make to the videos? You trimmed the last couple minutes off the video. What if you made a mistake? Can you go back? And since on it, there you go. I hope that answered I hope that video by the very nice, calm man answered your questions. Because yes, it is. You can cut. That's the thing. I think a lot of teachers get like freaked out about screencasting. They're like, oh, I have to have a script and it has to be perfect. And what if I screw up? So what do you screw up? That's what editing tools are for. That's life. So you should be able to go ahead and redo it. Any other questions about editing before we move on to the final part, which is sharing? Okay, and if you ever have any questions about editing, don't panic because they are in the Wakelet board. That nice little man's video is in. It did. I said that right before you started the video. Good, Christine. Okay, so now let's talk about sharing. All right, so you have created your video and now you want to share it. And by now, we most all know that this is the universal symbol for sharing things out. So you can directly upload it to your YouTube channel. You can directly share it to Google Classroom. You can get an embed code. So if you have a class website and you want to embed this, I know, and I'll tell you why you might want to have a website. For parents. Parents can't access Google Classroom. When I was a teacher, I always had a website. And it was my hub. It was my central location for all things related to my class. If students had a question, go to the website. If parents had a question, I always said, everything you need to know about my class is on the website. So it's not a bad idea to get in the habit of sharing your videos to a website. If you have a parent page on your website, it would be super useful for them. Again, going back to that triangle tutorial my kid made 6 years ago. You can also go ahead and share it directly in email, or if you have little learners, these are great for gallery walks or things like that, you can generate a QR code. Super duper easy. You also have the option, like I said, so, it's already in your Google Drive. So that's, like I said, it's there as soon as you create it, it automatically populates in your Google Drive. So it's always going to be there. In fact, I'll show you where the one we just made is. Like I said, it's in Screencastify. And what did I call it? Yeah, here we go. How to use the check-in feature. So it's right there. It's always going to be there. And I can choose to share it even directly from my Google Drive. Just be sure that you change the sharing settings because, again, this usually, because with the Educational Service Center, which is my professional account, usually I get this. Usually stuff is only shareable to people under my domain. So always make sure that you've got it set up this way where anyone on the internet with this link can view it, or you may want to go ahead and restrict it and only share this link with certain people. It's entirely up to you. Frankly, I don't think anything I make is that great anyway, or anyone's like searching out my stuff. So I just go ahead and do anyone with the link.
So Stephanie, if we want, since they all go to the Screencastify folder in Drive, if we just change the share settings at the folder level, then we shouldn't have to do it for every individual.
Yes, that's actually a really great point, Mindy. Thank you. Yes. In fact, I got that idea from a teacher on Twitter. So she made her entire Screencastify folder. She shared it with like everybody in her school, even students. So if I change this right now to anyone at the Educational Service Center can view it, or I can just make it for, like I said, anyone with the link, I would share the link to that folder. And if I share just this one link, okay, I get the link to share, copy it, drop that in my website, and parents and students have access to everything I've ever created. So it's entirely up to you. But yes, Mindy, that's a really good point. Thank you. Okay. And then here's this is what I like to do. So you also have these download options. So you can download it if you wanted to download it and share it somewhere else. You can export it as an MP4. You can export just the audio only. Now, here's why you might want to consider that. As you may be aware, let me pull up a Google slide here that I've created, something in Google Slides. So, okay, I'm just going to open a random slide here. You can insert audio into Google Slides, but it has to be an audio file that's already in your drive. So a lot of teachers will just go ahead and create a quick audio file and upload it to their Google Drive and then insert it into their Google Slides for students. So that's been, in fact, you know what? Let me show you a better example of that. Usually what I'll do is I'll go to insert audio. Okay, and let's pretend that I've downloaded audio from Screencastify and I hit select. And then I have an audio file right there. So maybe I wanted to record a greeting to students so that when they get to this landing slide, they'll hear a nice little video or audio greeting from me. I can set the format options on it for automatically play or on a click, change the position, all types of those things. So that's why you might want to consider, exporting audio only. That's an easy way to do it. And I do this a lot. I share GIFs. In fact, I will turn, here, I'll do it right now. I'll show you something. So when I share all of my templates to my social media and to my website, which, by the way, if you go to stephaniedemichele.org and you go to free, all of these things are things that teachers have been asking me to create, and I've been sharing them out, and so you can get it for free. Templates there are totally there for you to use. But see how this one, for example, over here is just moving through it? That was a GIF I created. Or a GIF, depending, tomato. It's just a quick GIF that I created. So it is a little video to show teachers what they're looking at for the things that I create, which, by the way, since tomorrow starts October, it starts my trick or tweet promotion. And here's what I mean by that. Sorry, I have to just say this because I'm giving away every Thursday. If you follow me on Twitter, every Thursday I'm giving away a free template based on an idea that a teacher has asked me to create for him or her. So if you follow me on Twitter, and I'll get to that in a minute with my sharing out my information, it's Trick or Tweet Month. I'm going to give away all kinds of good freebies that you can use in your own classroom. Okay, so that is how you share. Again, push a button, it'll go to your download folder, and you can do with it as you want. Okay, any questions about sharing?
I have one more question about the audio. Is there a way to directly just record the audio, or do you have to record video and then export the audio?
That your latter, because you'll see here, hold on, Mindy, let me share my screen again. All right. Okay, so when I go up here to share, you don't have an option to just record audio. See, so it's webcam, desktop, or browser tab at all times. So you could just go ahead and record something random, but not use the video when you just download audio. So does that help?
Yeah, I was doing my recordings in Audacity and then uploading it to Drive, but if we do it here, you could export it only. It wouldn't have to go down and then up. It would stay in Drive then, right?
Exactly. Yeah, I was using, honest to God, I was using onlinevoicerecorder.com. Same thing. Quick recording tool, and then I would download it, and then I would upload it to Google Drive. But then a teacher on Twitter said, no, just go ahead and do it in Screencastify. And so do it that way. And then you can insert audio directly in your Google Slides. Any other questions? I wish I had more to show you, but I swear to God, it's that easy. And I highly recommend a couple things. I highly recommend that you stick with the 5-minute thing for right now. Stick with the free version. It's got everything you need. If you want to, and you want to think about purchasing, I will give you a piece of advice from back in the day when I was in the classroom. And I was that annoying teacher who was always wanting to try a new tech tool. I had my first paperless classroom in 2008. So I was always trying tech tools, and I was always going to admin saying, if you buy me a subscription to this, I promise it's going to pay off. It'll be a good return on investment because you will never see me at the copy machine. I will not be using paper. My allotted paper budget will be almost zero this year. And so, of course, it was. I'd always go back and say, see what I did? Or I would always go to the PTO. But again, now that we're moving more towards online learning, we're seeing a lot of schools purchasing licenses for teachers. So again, yeah, it's just something, I think we're all in that mode that we need to do. Okay, so let me share with you a few of the resources that are in the Wakelet board that I really think you're going to find awesome sauce. Okay. If you need any help, the Screencastify help desk could not be easier. Boom, here you go. How do I record? How do I edit? It couldn't be easier. So I highly encourage you. I call this the Dorothy moment. In the internet age, we are all experts. Remember in The Wizard of Oz, Dorothy spent all of her time roaming and running around Oz going, help me, someone help me get home. And at the very end, Glinda shows up and she's like, you always had the power within you, my dear. You just had to find it for yourself. So before you start thinking, oh, I can't do this or this is too hard, go to the Screencastify help. They make it easy. There are also, this has kind of been a cool thing. I was a high school English teacher, and I wish that I had this back in the day. Teachers are now using Screencastify. So in the 90s, that tells you how old I am. When I was a high school English teacher, I would ask students to, if they wanted verbal feedback from me on their essays, I literally would use cassette player. I swear to God. Those of you, and I'm looking at you, Christine. I know you can't see me, but I'm looking at you, you millennial, who are like, what's a cassette tape? So I literally would ask my students to have cassette tapes, and I would give them verbal feedback. Well, you can do that now with Screencastify. So instead of having their essays come through Google Classroom and you typing all these comments, use Screencastify to give valuable feedback to students. I think this is genius, utter damn genius. There's also a great ebook here called 50 Ways to Use. So before you even get started with Screencastify, I highly recommend that you just peruse the ebook. It's got great ideas from great teachers all over the country, divided up into subjects so you can find some great ideas on how you can get started using it. There's also 25 ways to use Screencastify with Google Apps. So again, before you start playing, think, okay, what's my purpose? How do I want to start using these things? So how to use it with forms and sites and drawings and maps and Gmail and Sheets, all kinds of fun stuff. Also, Matt Miller has a great blog post, 25 ways to create great classroom video with Screencastify, because here's the thing. Let's have our students create. It's not just on us. We can all be content creators. So why not have your students create newscasts or show you their thinking? Hey, you don't have to use a computer all the time. If you have littles and you want them to use manipulatives to get them to share their thinking, let them do it. There are all kinds of ways. Students can use Screencastify too, and they should. And in fact, that leads me to my next point. If you're looking, this is a great video by our local guy, Jake Miller. This will show you how to, he found a hack back in the day to use the webcam. You turn it around so students can sort of share their thinking with you. Because I know, for example, that math teachers are struggling right now thinking, how can hey, math is shown, math is doing, or science is doing. So if you want to use Screencastify this way, there's a great little video there from Jake Miller. Okay, in order to get your 1-hour certificate of learning for today, all you need to go is go over here to Intro to Screencastify and fill out, you'll click on that and you'll fill out the Google form. Because I don't know who's here today, I don't know who's doing what, so if you're requesting a certificate, sorry people, it's on you. You're gonna need to fill out this form to get your 1-hour certificate. At the end, in about an hour, this webinar the recording will be done, and I'm going to upload it to YouTube, and I'm going to put timestamps on it. So I'll put it there. I am also offering for the fall free coaching and online help if you need it. So I'm holding virtual office hours. So if you click that link, you want to get in touch with me. I'm holding virtual office hours on Tuesdays and Thursdays from 3 to 4. So all you would do is click that link and you'll be taken to my Google Calendar where you'll get the direct meet link, and I'll see you there on Tuesdays and Thursdays. You can also book 15-minute appointments with me or more. You want to book them in a row Mondays and Wednesdays. You click this link, it'll take you to my Google Calendar. And by all means, I'm there to help you if needed. You can set up an appointment. Or I also have a virtual help desk 24/7 set up through Flipgrid where you can record. If it's 3 in the morning and you need help, go ahead. I'm not going to say it at 3 in the morning. I'll see it when I wake up. But I promise to help you in any way that I can. Absolutely. And there's my fall PD catalog. You can click on that. If you want to email me, go ahead. I'm there on Twitter. You can follow me on YouTube and on Instagram. And my sons introduced me to TikTok this year, and I have been looking for ways for the last 3 years to create 60-second PD. And I am using TikTok, and I've got lots of followers. I've exploded this month. I've got lots of followers on TikTok. I never thought I would be using TikTok for professional development, but I am. So if you need to find me, there I am. And yeah, that's about it. I think that's it. Okay.